their generations are now maybe second and third generations, and more children utilizing the schools, more residents on the island.
Well, just more everything. I mean, there's nothing happening in those islands right now, and it's going to take some time between now and when everything gets signed up. And there might be some people that are saying they can't wait long. And the same way that there are Guamanians that are leaving town in significant numbers or noticeable numbers out to destinations in the States, there might be some people who don't want to wait out recovery in their islands, want to come and live here, provided by law. Right. So we just got to make sure that we're in line to be able to capture as much as we can from the federal government to recompense for that impact. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Senator, one of these days I'm going to get through that. Congressman, I appreciate your time. Have a great day. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Here it comes to Fox News on a point.
News. Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis are leading the Republican primary in both polling and new numbers show in fundraising. Trump has raised $35 million. DeSantis brought in $20. Fox's Aisha Hasni has the latest.
Not just about the campaign cash that is coming in, it's about the campaign cash that is going out as well. So Governor DeSantis raised more than $20 million in the first 6 weeks of his campaign. Pretty good, right? But he's also spent nearly half of that, about $8 million, leaving the campaign now with just over $12 million in cash on hand. So as a result, the Florida governor was forced to cut his campaign staff, reducing his team by fewer than 10 members. Now, DeSantis came on Fox, told Fox's Howie Kurtz that his campaign issues are really just a result of a lack of support in the mainstream media.
President Biden has outraised both Trump and DeSantis combined with help from wealthy donors. Plan B, President Biden moving forward with his latest push to cancel student loan debt, about $39 billion worth.
This loan forgiveness going to about 800,000 people goes to those who have federal loans owned directly by the Education Department and who are participating in income-driven repayment plans. Republicans are blasting the move as just another last-ditch effort by the Biden administration to unconstitutionally pay off people's debt after the Supreme Court rejected Biden's larger student loan forgiveness plan. This $39 billion bailout, though, to let people off the hook from paying their debt is happening while the U.S. government is taking on billions of debt and drowning in the interest of paying off that debt.
Fox's Hillary Vaughn in Washington. An Iowa judge has blocked the state's latest abortion restrictions, which mostly would have banned the procedure after about 6 weeks of pregnancy. A restriction backed by Republicans. Today's ruling means abortion will remain legal in Iowa for up to 20 weeks. America is listening to Fox News.
News Team 5's News on the Fives. This just in. KFC is introducing new Kentucky Fried Chicken Nuggets. For more, here's Kelly Nichols.
Thanks, Gary. These KFC chicken nuggets are tender, juicy, and highly sauceable. As one team put it, no cap. These nuggies are straight fire. Gary?
Thanks, Kelly. Sounds bussin'.
Now on Guam, order KFC hand-breaded premium chicken nuggets via WhatsApp 300-3278 or online at kfcguam.com. You'll never have this nugget so good. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Do you or a loved one suffer from diabetic, chronic, or other non-healing wounds? If so, Guam Regional Medical City is here to help. At GRMC, we are committed to providing proper wound care using hyperbaric oxygen therapy and other forms of treatment to better manage pain and help speed up the healing process. To learn more, contact the GRMC referral office at 671-633-GRMC. That's 633-4762. GRMC.
Heavy storms once again hitting the waterlogged Northeast, causing deadly flash flooding in Pennsylvania. At least 5 are dead. 2 children are missing.
The search continues for those still missing, including a 9-month-old boy and his 2-year-old sister who disappeared after fast-rising floodwaters swept several cars off a road in southeastern Pennsylvania on Saturday. Parts of Connecticut, western Massachusetts, and New Hampshire also had flash flood warnings and tornado watches. Officials in Vermont, which was hit with days of flooding last week, have been watching for possible landslides. The storms also led to hundreds of flight cancellations, with New York City and Boston area airports the most affected. Forecasters say there's a break in the heavy rains in the Northeast today, but Tuesday will bring another chance for more rain and thunderstorms. In New York, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Speaking of Mother Nature in the Southwest, a heat wave continues to scorch millions in several states. Fox Weather's Max Gordon is in Sin City.
Yesterday really was the peak of the heat wave here in Las Vegas. We thought maybe we'd hit 118, break that previous record. We only got to 116. I say only. That tied the daily record for the city of Las Vegas. Today, a little bit cooler, if you can call it that, 112. Now, cooling centers, they're open all across Clark County. Help for folks who maybe are unhoused, help for people with air conditioning that has been turned off. Now, there's water available at these locations, and staff have been watching to make sure that the people coming in don't exhibit signs of heat illness. According to the National Weather Service, on Sunday, the surface temperature of the asphalt in the Las Vegas area got up to nearly 158 degrees, and the inside of some vehicles heated up to 178 degrees.
Temperatures also hitting well into the triple digits in Phoenix. On Wall Street, stocks getting off to a good start for the week. The Dow finishing up 76. The NASDAQ gaining 131. The S&P 500 added 17. I'm Tom Graham, and this is Fox News.
Half a day, this is Josh here at APL. Our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more global markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam, Saipan, and on U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com.
Are you tired of boring jobs that leave you feeling like a broken record? Well, get ready to tune into the most exciting opportunity of a lifetime. Choice Broadcasting. That's Star 101, The Boss and The Point is searching for enthusiastic salespeople and radio DJs to join our incredible team.
Salespeople, listen up. Are you tired of selling random gadgets or dull office supplies?
At Choice Broadcasting, you'll be selling airwaves. That's right, folks. We're talking about selling the magic of music.
And for you music lovers and microphone masters out there, we need DJs who can set the airwaves on fire. Have you always dreamt of being the voice that electrifies the masses? Look no further. We've got the stage where your talent can shine brighter than the sun.
So if you've got the charm, the wit, and the desire to be a part of an extraordinary team, grab your headphones and join us today. Call 888-RDIO or 888-7346 for your application.
Choice Broadcasting, where sales and radio collide and extraordinary careers are born.
Your local news is brought to you by Nambo Insurance. Skip the line, pay online. It's fast, easy, and secure. Visit Nambo.com for more information.
Half a day, it's 8:06. I'm Donna DeJesus with a look at your local news on The Point. The governor's office says the new public law aimed at accelerating the repair of public schools by setting a deadline for sanitation inspections will result in the closure of several public schools. A release states that Public Law 29-37 has tied the hands of the administration. The measure, which was authored by Senator Chris Barnett, lapsed into law in March. The governor's office also suggested that the new law resulted in a distorted legal relationship between the AG's office and public health. AG Doug Moylan has begun prosecuting public health officials for wrongful issuance of sanitary permits to GDOE without inspections. Administration officials note that prior to the bill's passage, public health representatives warned that the measure would disrupt the opening of schools for the upcoming school year, saying it would take 528 working days to inspect all schools. Before the new law, public schools had 5 years to comply with new sanitary regulations. The governor calls the law uncompromising and unreasonable and says since the legislature created this problem, the real solution lies with them. And as much as GDOE does not want to do online learning, it may be the only option for some schools when the new school year starts on August 9. Nearly all public schools remain closed to in-person instruction as a result of failed health inspections or expired sanitary permits. GDOE interim spokesperson Michelle Franquez says even if a school may look ready or functional, schools will need to pass inspection with the new regulations, which are much higher standards than in all previous years. So online instruction seems the most likely option. Based on the projection in Phase 1, only 15 schools will be able to open on time, and double session is not possible for all schools. Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction Joe Sanchez says that whether or not a school campus opens, all students will begin a mode of instruction on August 9. More news after this.
Go green, go hybrid, go to Nambo Insurance, and your next power bill is on us. Insure your hybrid car at Nambo and get up to $350 towards your next power bill. That's instant savings for keeping our island clean and green. Nambo has been providing Guam with over 50 years of reliable and affordable auto insurance. At Nambo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit nambo.com or call 477-9754 for details.
Congressman Jim Moylan says the passage of the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act includes some wins for Guam. Moylan notes the NDAA includes directing the DoD secretary to determine the feasibility and cost of constructing a defense access road, costs of repairing infrastructure damaged by Typhoon Mawar, costs of military housing, needs to minimize the impact on the local inventory, costs of dredging at the Port Authority of Guam as it relates to the cost of shipping goods to the island, and directing the DoD secretary to justify why he did not execute his authority in temporarily waiving the Jones Act for Guam. Moylan says that waiver has been done for other jurisdictions impacted by major storms. And as part of its suicide prevention initiative, the UOG Press launched an academic journal that aims to foster artistic and literary expression. The journal, titled Breathe, launched July 7 and was inspired by the poetry book and short film Dry Nights by Pep Borja. The primary purpose is to stimulate artistic expression and recognize the beauty of island life. The Focus on Life program of the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center provided grant funding that supported the journal's development. The latest issue of Breathe costs $12 and can be purchased online at uogpress.com. For every sale, $2 will be donated to upcoming projects aimed at preventing suicide. And those are your top stories. Now back to Ray with weather.
Just breathe here, 10 after 8 o'clock in the morning. Before I get to the weather, just a reminder, we are in load shedding central. They're trying to get some good news out of the Power Authority, and the latest information that I have from them, I read already, but I'll read it again because I know how you are, just hungry for information, wanting to know how we're going to plan our lives today. Beginning at 8:30 last night, PD 8 and 9 and Cabras 2 were offline for emergency repairs, necessitating immediate load shedding. Some of you got hit once. Some of you got hit twice. One was on the family chat. Looks like my brother got hit a third time before he left the house. Dedados, what have we got here? Additionally, 2 other combustion turbine units have been restored. So right now, and PD-8 is online. Plant personnel continue to troubleshoot and make repairs to PD-8 and Cabras 2. So they're talking about the system being delicate and unstable right now as they work to restore and get the baseload units on by tonight. There is the possibility that there could be yet more load shedding. I'm being told to tell you to anticipate the continuation of these little 1-hour deals. So be ready for them. Try not, and I don't know what the schedule is until they publish something like a schedule. So I don't know what's going to be happening during the day. When we do get one, it might be tonight. So keep an eye on GPA social media, Facebook pages, etc., so you can kind of follow along. And the way it works is, so you go, okay, so the power is going to be going out in the Agana area, say at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you make sure that you're gone from Moses by 3, and then go over to someplace else, like Horse and Cow. Because they're going to have power, and then they're going to lose theirs at 4. So you want to make sure that you're out of there by 4, and then make your way over to where's another good place? Any of those places by the old
power hopping, huh?
Yeah, yes, power hopping. No, it's a thing, and you can get relatively good at it as long as GPA stays on the schedule that they're talking about, and doesn't throw a curve like waiting a little bit longer before we shift out of one place or another. Real Joe. I did an outstanding job this morning. It was unable to print out the weather forecast because the printer was not attached to the generator. But as soon as we came back to Island Power, dude, printed. No,
okay.
Not fail.
It came out.
It came out right here in black and white.
Amazing.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms are in today's forecast, hopefully keeping things cool. So that means that they're going to need less of the generation. Partly sunny with highs near 88 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy and overnight low should be about 78 degrees. We'll have some wind to cool things off, but not a lot. East-southeast winds blowing between 8 and about 13 miles an hour over the next few hours. Mostly sunny tomorrow with some isolated showers and highs near 88 degrees. They said scattered showers and thunderstorms could be moving in on Wednesday night. Got to throw that into the mix just for fun, like they did for today. And Thursday, partly sunny with highs near 88 degrees. Sunset tonight will be at 6:52. Hashtag tell the others. There it is. News and weather together on The Point.
When traveling, people frequently ask, what's it like living in Guam?
I told them a lot of things, but what always stands out is that when a catastrophe hits, we don't go breaking windows and looting stores.
We knock on our neighbors' doors and ask if they're okay.
And that's what we've seen since Mawar.
Yes, it has not always been easy, but we as a community have joined together to assist in our recovery.
So Bank Pacific thanks all who are repairing Guam.
All of us.
So when people ask, I tell them Guam is good.
Bank Pacific, member FDIC.
News Team 5's News on the 5s. This just in. KFC is introducing new Kentucky Fried Chicken Nuggets. For more, here's Kelly Nichols.
Thanks, Gary. These KFC chicken nuggets are tender, juicy, and highly sauceable. As one teen put it, no cap. These nuggies are straight fire. Gary?
Thanks, Kelly. Sounds bussin'.
Now on Guam, order KFC hand-breaded premium chicken nuggets via WhatsApp 300-3278 or online at kfcguam.com. You'll never have this nugget so good. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Better believe it. Is 8:14. Ray Gibson Show brought to you by APL. American President Lines is delivering the future. Also being brought to you by the guys over at, well, not the guys. Well, guys, girls, everybody. The whole office is a team approach over at Kim and Ron's place. That's Security Title, one of the best-looking stores on Marine Corps Drive. You know what? That would make a nice nightclub, too. So if you're doing the power jumping between, one place and the other, and you're like, you never know, man, bang on a door, you never see what happens. You never know what's going to happen. They got this nice little conference thing on the inside, and I've been there as part of my real estate adventures in my life. And I tell you what, it's a lot of painless and a lot of let's make things easy this time, Ray. So if you are going to be doing buying, selling, whatever, and want to talk to somebody that's experts in the entire field, those are the guys, Kim and Ron at Security Title.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's just taking forever. What can I say? 8:15 in the morning. Don is sitting there going, why isn't it Thursday yet? It's one of the T days. It's one of the T days. I'll grant you that. It's not the one that you're looking for, but we're darn close. I don't. But we've got to get through today. We've got to get through whatever it is that the gods of load shedding are throwing at us. We've got to get through that because this is going to be. I want to say either a day of reckoning or we're going to get damn close to the reckoning here because there is going to be an oversight hearing in the Department of Education this morning over at the legislature at 10 o'clock. And then later on at 1:30 in the afternoon at the Attorney General's office, the Attorney General is going to have a lot of movers and shakers and education makers in this town to talk about what some of the options are going to be. Naturally, the chairs right around the front are going to be for Governor Lulian Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. Oh, wait, they're not going. They're not going.
Got a better offer.
They got a plan for FestPack. we got a plan for FestPack. We're not having it here, but let's spend money like we are, right? That's the deal, right? Spend money we don't have to impress people that don't live here. Anyway, 8:16 in the morning. At 10 o'clock, as I said, the legislature is going to have the oversight, and that's going to be chaired by Chris Barnett. And I'm kind of curious, how are you going to start this oversight hearing, Chairman Barnett?
Good morning, Guam.
That's what I'm looking for. I want to see you do that with the gavel today.
Well, you careful what you wish for, Ray. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's it?
It's all right. I was looking to hear from you over the last couple of days because they've been spending an inordinate amount of time writing poison pen letters. As I said yesterday, the new MO over at Adelup is going to be, it used to be admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. But now it's admit nothing, deny everything, and blame Chris Barnett.
Yeah, it's disappointing, and it's very unproductive. I've always said that I'm willing to work with anybody, whether it's a governor, lieutenant governor, my colleagues down here at the legislature, and it's just really unproductive. These last couple of releases that have come out of Adelup have just really left me scratching my head. A big meeting is right up there on the governor's website. Whole of Gov Guam approach going to be used to fix the schools, and now we're looking at schools opening a few weeks away. The Guam Department of Education is working very feverishly to come into compliance, and they have categorized schools. They have schools in a phase 1 that they say could be ready by August 9th. They got schools in the phase 2 category that, with a little bit of this, maybe some nuts and bolts here and there, can move to phase 1 and then open. And so, GDOE is working hard, and they have busted their noggins and prepared as many campuses as they can. For the proposed opening of school on August 9th. Now it's on August 9th. Now it's unfortunate that in their latest release from Adelup, the governor basically kind of washes her hands. I mean, it's disappointing. She washes her hands of the thing. She says, "Hey, the legislature created this problem. Legislature can solve it." But she did say that she was going to work feverishly with the Department of Public Health and Social Services to to help GDOE open as many schools as possible. And that's giving me hope because as of yesterday, in conversation with the deputy superintendents at the Guam Department of Education, they are still hearing from the Department of Public Health that DPHSS can only inspect 3 more schools before August 9th.
That's bull. I'm sorry. We're not that dumb.
Yeah, and that's to the tune of 1 school inspection per week. So I'm not sure what the governor meant when she wrote that she was working feverishly, but, doesn't seem very feverish to me. And again, I would just ask Adelup to come through and deliver on some of these promises that they made back in February. One of the other things that the deputy superintendents were talking to me about was a conversation they had with Lieutenant Governor again back in February, where they were looking at deputizing other regulatory type enforcement personnel to include maybe DPW, Guam EPA, people who can kind of put on the inspector hat, who kind of come from that discipline, and maybe be deputized to go out to the schools as public health agents. Because again, GDOE has done the hard work. They have worked as hard as they can to categorize schools for opening so that they can preserve face-to-face learning as much as they can. But all of that hard work that they have done to do that is going to fall short if the Department of Public Health and the governor, lieutenant governor by extension, don't work harder to get more of these schools.
Don't we have an excess of smart people over at the governor's office? I mean, what's the staffing pattern? Do we have anybody over there that can stop picking their nose and pick up a clipboard and get what the 1 or 2 hours of training that Tom Nadeau's going to need them so they can go out there and do some of this environmental health inspections?
Well, I mean, beyond that, that's a great idea, right? But this whole GovGuam approach, I mean, I feel like, and Canada had a great editorial about this. I'm not sure if Adelup's strategy is to continue attacking senators in the Guam legislature, whoever they think is going to throw their hat in the ring against the lieutenant governor, who's already, we know, expressed his desire to run, because they stole a big win from the lieutenant governor. The governor could have easily, instead of coming out with this release that says, hey, good luck with that, public schools, she could have easily said, hey, Lieutenant Governor, get in there, show me what you're working with. And we could all be working together for the benefit of our public school system and our public school students. Now, that's not happening, but I think we're still moving forward and moving forward with purpose. I mean, like I said, GDOE, I just got on the phone with the new superintendent, and like I said, they have done the hard work. It was a difficult task, challenging, yes. I've always said it wasn't impossible, but that key part of the governor really working more feverishly. I mean, I want to forget working feverishly, work COVID if that's what it takes. You know what I mean? Let's get beyond feverish, because there are a lot of variances that the Guam Department of Education is requesting, and these are also a key piece to them being able to open more schools, as well as the inspections. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're GDOE, and this is something I met with them a lot about. I said, hey, online has to be the last resort. We have to do face-to-face as much as we can, and I know that the Attorney General is also looking at that with his roundtable today. And I heard you had Your Honor, former Senator Bob Klitzky, the author of the Adequate Education Act, on earlier, and he talked about online learning and whether or not it fit in with the adequate education, and it doesn't. And I agree with him; he's totally right. But guess what? There are a lot of the bullet points here for the 14 points of the Guam Department of Education is simply not meeting today or yesterday. And so that is part of this whole effort to get these schools to come into compliance with the basic safety and sanitation guidelines. I'm aware that there have been several claims filed, relative to violations of the Adequate Education Act. So it's not just Public Law 37-4 that's putting the pressure on the Guam Department of Education and is really forcing this agency and hopefully this government to move expeditiously but purposefully to open these schools for our students.
So I'll take it with a grain of salt, but I mean, if you think that we're not seeing dragging of the feet over in the Department of Education, the Ed Board, then okay, that's your opinion, and I generally will buy into it. You're not usually wrong, so then that's going to be all right. Definitely seems to be some collusion between the Adelup and the Department of Public Health. These guys are slow walking. You do the mathematics on what they were talking about in order to get all of the schools inspected. Never mind remediation after the initial inspection, one way or the other. But it would take, what is it? You quoted about a week I think my buddy did the math on this and said it's actually closer to about 2.5 weeks when it comes to it. 528 working days is almost 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's 2.5 weeks per school to get inspected. And if there's a problem with personnel, let's address it. Likewise, I think the other thing that has popped up before is what about procurement? We find ourselves in a position where we might not need to buy air conditioning. We might need to purchase some mold remediation or whatever it is that we're going to need to do. So are we in a position now to fast track all of that? Do we have a problem with that there?
So procurement was the P word. I like to say was one of the biggest issues that GDOE has brought up, and we've done a lot to address that at the 37 Guam legislature. I know Senator Sabina Perez had introduced expedited protest procedures for procurements made with ARP funds. I'd also introduced a measure that gave GDOE emergency procurement for any of the projects that are being undertaken to come into compliance with Public Law 37-4. Unfortunately, the governor vetoed that bill, but I got to say, since that veto, this discussion about the procurement problems has doubled, maybe even tripled. I've listened and sat into some of the DOE town halls, and DOE leadership continues to talk about procurement. And I spoke with the board chair yesterday about the possible override of this bill that the governor vetoed, and I asked her to take it to the new superintendent and discuss with him if this is something that they feel they can utilize. I believe that they can, and I thought it was interesting in the governor's letter to the AG and her press release where she kind of acknowledged these procurement issues, and she said that she has several line agencies assisting the Guam Department of Education, but it's almost illogical because she vetoed my bill and said that it was going to be burdensome, but on the other side here, we're deputizing several government agencies to assist with procurement, when it kind of seems like my bill assisted with the procurement, a lot quicker than having to corral different government agencies. And so while I was disappointed by the release, I was, I don't want to say satisfied, but I do acknowledge that the governor acknowledged these problems that we have been talking about, these problems with the public health staffing shortages that the legislature has funded to address, and these problems with procurement. And
which the legislature has taken steps to address.
Exactly.
Keep vetoing.
Yeah, so.
I don't know. I wanted to get another question in here before we get crazy and move on to some other things. First of all, I really, really appreciated your stories yesterday with the pictures of the big headline making government wide attempt to fix the problems over at DOE, and that's all we got out of it was a meeting and a couple of pictures that went into social media. Everything else was like, hey, we already had the meeting. What's the big deal? Everybody knows what to do, and nobody knew what to do. But there's a question that is coming up now from some constituents and others that how do I want to approach this question here? Where's the $20 million that the legislature appropriated to cover salaries at the Department of Education?
Okay, so let me just correct you. First of all, the $20 million was appropriated to address facilities and maintenance, and that was a measure that was introduced by the vice chair of my committee, Senator Chris Duenas. It passed unanimously, actually, and I remember the hearing we had.
It did not go to personnel. It was not aimed at personnel.
No.
Okay.
I think you're kind of mixing the 22. That was a whole other thing. But this money, this $20 million, was Senator Chris Duenas introduced his bill to replace the money that was taken to pay the teacher raises in the previous year. And so when we went to committee of the whole, then the acting superintendent Wampat, first of all, she didn't want the money because she thought it was going to jeopardize a 22% pay raise. But when we really took her to task, she said that the money would be great to handle some of the smaller CIP projects that aren't going to be covered by the federal funds. So it was a big win for us to be able to get that $20 million and get it over to the Guam Department of Education. And this is something that, as the education chair, I followed up on in May when we were in a different session, and I asked Ed Byrne, hey, where's that money for GDOE? And he had told me, it's being transferred tomorrow. So I kind of let it lie, and then come to find out yesterday in the budget hearing that they never got the $20 million. And so for me, there's a little confusion that I kind of want to get to the bottom of, because I know that there had been some discussion about Adelup taking that money and using it to kind of front load some of the projects at the schools, like the mold mitigation and possibly the debris removal. But, that being said, we did pass a law that appropriated $20 million to the Guam Department of Education. So a lot of us were kind of scratching our heads wondering where the hell did that money go. And then I was reading the Post this morning, and they had the governor's director of communications respond to this. And she says here, the Guam Department of Education hasn't spent the over $1 million it still has. The $20 million is not necessary for them to start their work. But to me, that's kind of moot because we're the legislature. We've passed laws, and it's not up to the director of communications to decide, when GDOE or if GDOE needs this money. So we're gonna work hard to get to the bottom of it. But I do know that, like I keep telling you, we're in a time where we're getting some of these blessings where we have. We're able to put in these disaster-related projects and get them covered and hopefully reimbursed. So I don't know if that $20 million went there, but it should have went to the Guam Department of Education. And so I know Senator Duenas is, he's going to keep digging, and he told me that, obviously he's upset about this. I think we all are.
So it'll come up in the oversight hearing this morning.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about it. I'm not sure how much more information that we can get. I know that I'm currently asking for all the communications with Adelup, and so I was able to get their GDOE's initial partial drawdown request, and I'm kind of piecing together a lot of the emails that went back and forth so that I can recreate the record myself, because sometimes when you ask when you ask one question, you get, two different answers. So I'm always of the mind that I want to see it in black and white, and this, so that I can figure it out for myself and figure out how to move forward. But that being said, coming from the media, we saw this same thing with Speaker Terlahi and that $10 million that was supposed to go over to the Guam Memorial Hospital, never got there. And so, when we say that we're going to do big things for education and we're going to provide the tools, this $20 million is one of those tools that we're talking about, where it gave them a little more flexibility to cover some of those, again, smaller projects that weren't tied up with the ARP.
Speaking of Speaker Talai, did you guys junk and poll on who's going to get the top of the ticket here? Are you going to be the governor or is she going to be the governor?
Come on. You say stuff like that, and you're queuing up like 10 more attack press releases.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Well, hey, listen, you got your own ammo there, because last week you sent, it was you and I think Tello, you guys were gangsed on this, asking, listen, and she even came out the other day and she said, I'm not going to Eagles Field anymore. They dropped the whole Eagles Field conversation. Right. Here's a copy of the letter that I wrote to the guy, and then took an opportunity in her press release to take a swipe at Therese Terlahi, who is shocked now that this land is not going to be given back to the ancestral landowners, original landowners, or whatever you want to call them. But the point now is, all right, so fine, if we're not going to do Eagles Field, where else are you contemplating to put this? And if it's going to be some time before you do anything with it, can we have the rest of whatever is $150 million, whatever's left in the bank account, so that we can take some of that rescue money and start spreading it around a little bit deeper in this community, besides daycare centers? Because there's a whole lot of other businesses that you screwed by making them shut down and telling your customers to stay away from them, that would sure like an opportunity to rebound with some of that rescue plan money.
Yeah, Ray, that release about the Eagles Field debacle was again another disappointing release out of Adelup, because if the governor and the administration, lieutenant governor, had come clean from the beginning and had involved the legislature from day one, instead of having us find out about these negotiations 2 years after they started, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So I think it's disingenuous for the governor to come out and attack anybody. And in the release, they had talked about the cost of the lease. Well, the governor never showed us her hand. We never got all the details. What we did get, though, was a copy of a lease that mentioned a cost of $10 million to the tune of $1 million a year. And so while you had the governor saying, no, it's a free lease, the black and white of it clearly said that it wasn't, and that triggered the involvement of the legislature. So, yeah, again, I would just say over to Adelup, whoever's been writing these last few releases, you need to put them on a timeout, take away the laptop, and let's just cool it down a little bit and find ways to work together to address, a lot of these big issues, and specifically the biggest one on our table right now is working together to ensure that we can get as many schools open as we can.
Amen to that. Well, because you're senator now, you're above all of this, and but I'll go ahead and be snarky for you. For her to accuse you of being uncompromising and unreasonable, this is the same Adeloop that mandated vaccination without exemptions for all members of the executive branch, forcing many of them to leave their jobs rather than get fired for not capitulating and taking the jabs if they didn't feel that they wanted that it was the right thing for them to do. That, if you ask me, is the definition of uncompromising and unreasonable.
Well, Ray, I'm always willing to compromise and work together with anybody, whether it's governor, lieutenant governor, or, Democrat, Republican senators. I think if it's good for Guam, then we can all sit down and figure it out together. But if it's not good for Guam, then, I'm going to fight it every step of the way.
Keep it up. 8:35 in the morning. We haven't even talked about the hospital. Is that going to be next on your list?
Yeah, so the hospital, we just need to have an honest conversation together. I was encouraged. We had this missile defense hearing last night, and it kind of seems like we're all on the same page at this moment. And so I encourage that for the new hospital. I know there was some movement with the Ancestral Lands Commission and a property that they had that didn't even make the list of the new hospital sites. But yeah, this is definitely a pressing need. Obviously, right, the future of Guam healthcare, and I think that maybe I don't know. I don't think we're done looking at the Sub Point property. I think that there were just a lot of stuff thrown at the wall about that property, and maybe it was because the governor didn't want the hospital to be there. But it's not necessarily about what the governor, lieutenant governor wants, and it's more about what's best for the people of Guam. So again, I'm committed to work together.
Doctors know.
To find
the future of healthcare. Chris, the future of healthcare is an important thing, but the present of healthcare is likewise as important.
Yeah.
And there are the same way that we're talking about systemic mismanagement and poor maintenance in the Department of Education. That's obvious, most glaring now because it's back to school in 3 weeks. But every day somebody needs to go to Guam Memorial Hospital. Somebody needs to have a baby delivered in that place, and that it is substandard. As hard as there are people there that try their asses to make sure that they're providing as best health care as they possibly can, and then there's others that are kind of phoning in their jobs. You know who they are. Anyway, 8:36 in the morning. Always a delight talking with you. You have a great day. Get ready for your 10 o'clock. All right.
Thank you, man. Appreciate the time this morning.
All right, bud. 888-8255-888-TALK. There's Senator Chris Barnett on the line, and I got from Trish. I wasn't going to read it to him while he was on the air, but I'll read it to you because it seems to me maybe there's an opportunity in here for others, just regular plain old folks to provide some kind of testimony or ask questions of the senators so that they can ask them of members of the Department of Education and whoever else is going to be involved in this roundtable. After being on that Zoom meeting tonight, they want to blackmail us parents to get the senators to be lenient with Bill 37-4, and if we don't, we suffer the consequences of online learning. Well, you know what? They want to threaten us with the online learning. If they'd just been keeping up their maintenance of the schools, we would not be in this war. So we parents should band together to homeschool our children. Forget GDOE online classes. We can do group homeschooling or homeschooling yourself, and whatever works best for your family, or if you can transfer to charter or private school. Governor doesn't want Mount Carmel to become a charter school because she knows people will transfer from public to Mount Carmel, and they will lose their students. And that is as interesting an opinion and a point as anybody else can make around here. And there needs to be more of this kind of discussion. That's right. They want them to be lenient on 37-4. Front page of the newspaper is right where they say so. We want to see if there's a political solution. That's code. That's code for rewrite this. You're the legislature. It came out of you. You can put it on pause, and then we'll give everybody the amount of time that it's going to take to properly fix everything in the Department of Education and the Department of Public Health and Social Services to go out there and do all of the inspections in the kind of time that they want, to be as thorough as possible with these inspections. It's funny, they want to be as thorough as possible with these inspections, but they didn't do them for years, right? And we'll wait until 2024. That's what the law provided. We could wait until 2024. Well, here's the deal. If they wanted to do this in 2024, and it would take them 2.5 years to inspect the schools to be ready for 2024, they would have needed to start that process a year ago. Just saying. So, and they did it. So tell me again where the mathematics and where the proper calendar work needs to have been. 528 working days. Get out of here with that bull. 8:39 in the morning in the Ray Gibson Show. Last big look at news and headlines, as well as celebrity birthdays on the way. Stay there.
JV International Safety Equipment has it all for you. Fall protection, rain gear, traffic signs, speed bumps, custom signs and banners, PPEs, fire extinguishers, plus more. Check them out on Facebook at JV International Safety Equipment Company or visit their website, www.jvisec.com. JV International Safety Equipment, Guam's leader in occupational and environmental safety equipment. Call 688-9524. JV International Safety Equipment, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Burger King and Coca-Cola celebrate summer on Guam. Get a free 44-ounce Coca-Cola Collector's see-through beauty cup with the purchase of any large combo meal. Your choice of a flame-grilled Whopper, double beef Whopper, Bacon King, or any Royal Crispy Chicken sandwiches. Top off your large combo meal with French fries or onion rings and an ice-cold Coca-Cola. BK and Coca-Cola keeps your summer cool. Available at Tumon Bay, Hagåtña, Micronesia Mall, and the airport. Burger King, you rule.
20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. How about that? This is weird, kind of wacky Saturday morning. Let's go to Skateland music playing in the background. But I do appreciate it.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's okay. Let's go, Brandon. All right, in 20 minutes, it'll be 9 o'clock in the morning. We got to take our last look at big news and headlines with Donady, who's been listening and paying attention to everything that we're talking about, and now starting to ask, like every other parent on Guam, what are my options exactly? Maybe we can talk about that and more. Reach out to a couple of people in these private schools and find out, do they even have room? Do they even have room?
Right.
And
there's a lot. They're a lot smaller.
Well, here's another one. Are they going to be able to take all comers? I mean, are you going to be able to? I mean, if it was my school, could I say of all of the applicants that want to come to our school, can I use the application process as a means to determine who will get these coveted other chairs in my class? Because I'm not going to want any disciplinary issues. I'm not going to be wanting guys that break toilet seats and commodes, right? I'm going to, and frankly, I'm not going to want any academic issues as well. I want everybody to be able each student should be able to fulfill hopes, dreams, and desires of all of the other students in the classroom, and it shouldn't be one of these cases where we're going to be bringing in a dummy that's going to hold everybody else back.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when you've got schools. Really, what's our goal here is to seriously get these kids ready for college and higher forms of education.
I'm going to build a sweatshop at my house, Ray.
I think we,
Oh,
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that because, a lot of people are moving out of China. And where they're going to be, reshore here on Guam, it's Ray and Joe's sweatshop. Now with big news and headlines, here's Donna D. What happened?
A couple of education sessions today that the public can attend to voice their concerns. At 10 o'clock this morning, the legislature will have an oversight hearing on Senator Chris Barnett's law that pushes GDOE to get schools ready to pass health inspections before the new school year. The AG's office will be holding a roundtable at the ITC building at 1:30 this afternoon to discuss possible solutions for the new school year. And Public Health launched the Project Mall Warrior Child Care Recovery Program yesterday, providing grants for hardening Child Care Development Fund certified child care facilities for future disasters, natural hazards, floor damages, and disaster loss. Grants are available for relative and in-home child care providers, family daycare providers, and center-based and school-age child care providers. Go to investguam.com to download the application. And PD 8 and 9 and Cabras 2 were offline for emergency repairs, and GPA has announced to expect load shedding through tonight due to insufficient generation. As of this morning, plant personnel continue to make repairs to PD 8 and Cabras 2. GPA is working to restore all baseload units by this evening. The load shedding schedule will be posted on GPA's website and social media pages. And that was your last look at local headlines on The Point. Now back to Ray.
Roger that. Quick look at celebrity birthdays here. I've got Don Sulat from the Department of Public Health and Social Services.
Oh, happy birthday, Don.
Is
his birthday?
I'm sorry.
I thought you were saying it was his birthday.
Okay, I was wrong. My bad.
Because you said celebrity birthdays and you said you got Don Sulat.
To me, man.
No, I was just talking about where we're going to be headed in the next couple of minutes. Let me just Don, is it your birthday?
My birthday is next month, actually.
So we're close.
Thank you for the advance birthday, Greg.
No. Happy birthday to you, Don Sully, in advance, because I don't know how long you're gonna have a job after we're done talking. I'm kidding. But I do want to warn you. I'm looking for a DSNAP update because the last time we talked to you, you were telling me about where everybody was and where the data inputting was, and for the most part, it's just a couple of days worth of data inputting to ensure that people will be able to have charge cards. So I wanted to get an update on that. But there's a lot of conversation about the inspections that have been taking place over at the schools, and you're doing the press releases for that. And a question from one of our listeners that would like to know where they can see the public inspection checklist for schools. Now, I don't know if you've got the answer to those questions, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes while Don and I take care of one thing, see if you can dig that out, okay?
Sure. Well, I don't have the checklist. I'll go into a deeper, that one will require more than a few minutes, but I can tell you where you can find the inspection reports.
Right.
This is not just for schools. You can find that this is like for all establishments that the Division of Environmental Health inspects.
Okay, we'll get to that in just a second, okay, birthday boy?
Sure.
Okay, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Put you back on hold over there, and then you can listen to every word that we say. All right, celebrity birthday number one.
Okay.
Happy 83rd birthday to James Brolin.
Oh, Josh Brolin's dad.
I believe so.
Barbara Streisand's husband.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she married Josh.
No,
Is he
that's
married to
her
the old man?
son.
He's married to Mrs.
Stepson.
I mean, son.
I got you. There's websites for that kind of thing. We got Richard Branson is 73 years old.
Virgin Records?
I believe so. Yeah.
He owns an island?
Space Force?
Yeah.
He's Epstein.
Super
Epstein was
rich.
the island owner.
No.
Did you know the guy was a math teacher before he became Epstein?
Oh.
The guy with the island. That apparently,
He was a math teacher?
He was a math teacher.
Off, man.
Okay.
And they said it was weird because it was a math teacher like one day, and then the next day he was a billionaire. And facilitating, private airplane rides and boat rides and all this other stuff to the Epstein, teeny bopper island. Vin Diesel is 56 years old today.
What's his real name?
Vin Diesel.
I thought it said there.
No, I think that's not his real name. People aren't just named
I am
Vin.
Groot.
Kojak is his real name.
So you got Vin Diesel is celebrating a birthday today. I'm going to say something very unpopular, along with unpopular lines like Joni Mitchell, really no talent. And what?
Okay.
No, what's the other guy?
Okay, what were you going to say about Vin Diesel?
Bob Dylan, no talent.
No.
Either.
Oh, man.
He's just controversial.
Got me but and then Vin Diesel is not handsome.
He's not.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so I'm not saying he's ugly. It was always kind of surprising to me when we'd bring names like his up. We talk, to go watch this movie, and I go, it's got Vin Diesel in it. Oh my God, Vin Diesel, he's so cute.
Maybe it's just because he's bulky.
It's the hairstyle for me.
But yeah, it's the hair.
It's all about family.
There's a lot
it's very family oriented.
Is it possible that all the Fast and Furious movies are basically a real live action ripoff of Lilo and Stitch?
Yes.
Ohana means family.
And Ohana means family, and family means forever. I'm going to get all teary talking about it now. If you're looking for something to celebrate today, it's Hug Your Kids Day, Insurance Nerd Day.
What's an insurance nerd?
I don't know. I'd make a remark about a certain member of my family, but I'm not going to. I'll preserve that domestic tranquility. Perfect Family Day. There we go. I've got one of those. Perfect Family. Sour Candy Day. Of which there might be one or two that are worth thinking about here. Nelson Mandela International Day and World Listening Day. And I want to thank you very much for listening to the program here. I'm here, and I'm really glad you're there. 8:47 in the morning, Don. I'm going to let you run, get your stuff ready to go. And Don Sulat from the Department of Public Health and Social Services on the line. The last message I got was that there were 3 inspections that were all done and scored, and then there was one pending. I think that was for Mauricio Marchers, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are we done on that one? Did they finally put the report together? Did Mauricio Marchers pass?
I don't have the report. We don't have the report yet, but it is coming out sometime this week.
Hey, I know school's in 2-3 weeks, Bull. That dick, you gotta lean into that one. Do we need a calculator? Did somebody lose the math? Isn't that the way it works? Is like you got a column here with the demerits, and then you just add up the demerits.
Because what I see is based on the merits, they'll have to write what the merit is. They're going to a full report on it and address, and that's how it goes. So it takes some time to write that down, and then that's what's taking a little bit of time.
Okay, so we don't know the outcome of Mauricio Marchers, but confident enough to put it into phase 1, the Department of Education, right?
According to GDOE.
Yeah. So I think they're of the opinion that maybe this is going to be good. Now, with regard to, what is a passing grade? So we got, what is it, Addical and John F. Kennedy High School, and what were they were in the 60s, right? Is that not passing?
Yeah. That is not that. Anything above, if you get 41 or more demerit, you are not passing.
Oh, I see. Okay, so So based on that numbers, the more points you get, the less likely you are to pass. So it's 41 is the minimum number of points that you can have and still pass.
40.
Okay, so at the 41st demerit, then you are in failure mode.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And I'm sure you guys were just as surprised as us, because I figured it was going to be John F. Kennedy and private, somebody in the private sector that is seeing to that with the lease. You would think that they would not have any demerits whatsoever.
I was just surprised in general coming from Saipan. So,
well, I don't know what's it like for the schools up in Saipan, Don?
Well, our middle school, Hopwood Middle School, as many people who are from Saipan know, it kind of flew away during the last super typhoon, so it's like tent city over there, right? I think now the school's going back to normal, but growing up, we never really had this kind of issue, at least from the lens of a student,
Right. Well, that was a big bad storm that came through, as you know. I don't need to tell you about bad storms up there, and my understanding was that there are still people that live in tents as a result of that. The recovery just has not gone at the same speed for everybody.
Right. Going back home every now and then, I still see a few tents here and there. So.
All right. Well, it's sad to hear that, but they didn't go to online learning, right? They just did it in tents.
They did it in tents, and those tents were honestly they were really nice. I don't quote me on it, but it looked military grade because they were able to have classes in there. They were air conditioned. I was like, wow,
I'm just saying, maybe I'm wondering if there's one of the options that we have not yet considered for our students. It's a classroom face to face, and we can take care of the temperatures. You got a spot up there for a blackboard or whiteboard or whatever it is that the teachers are using these days. I just saying, we're all basically the same people up and down the chain, and if that was working, if that was a way that they were able to preserve education up there, then why don't we consider doing something along those lines out here? Anyway, 8:51 in the morning, and we'll go back to the original conversation that I wanted to have. If you could do me a favor, though, if you could dig out the checklist for the schools. And I'll send a copy of it to every one of the principals out there so that they know what to expect, because none of them have been inspected before, what they can expect when the DEH guys come swinging by, all right?
Here, I'll go ahead and WhatsApp this to you.
Yeah, see if you can, unless it's confidential information or whatever. 8:52 in the morning. Don Sulat is from the Department of Public Health and Social Services, and actually came into the realm of conversation here in the last few weeks because he was able to explain just what the heck was going on at the end of the DSNAP application program that they had island-wide. Now, it has been some time since the end of last month, as a matter of fact, since the application period has concluded, and now where are we? The 18th of July. Does everybody have money in their DSNAP cards? Yes, yet, and if not, how come not?
So we're wrapping up those who applied in terms of uploading their benefits. We're wrapping up those who applied on the last day, July 1st, and putting the monies into their card. And now we're also looking at those who have discrepancies. So as you know, and I mentioned in the past, those who applied up to X date, whose application had no discrepancies, there was no issue with it, they should have seen the monies in their card already. Now we're taking another look at all those applications and resolving them.
Okay, so I know somebody that has got a SNAP card that does not have any money in it. I don't know when he applied for the SNAP card, but is it possible, especially if it was before the end of the month, just before the end of the month, is it possible that there could be some kind of a discrepancy? And what mechanism should he and or she, I forget which the pronouns are, what provision should they take now to call and find out what the problem may or may not be?
Sure. So they can call the 300 numbers at 671-300-8880 or 2. or they can message us on our social media via Facebook or Instagram. And then the information that we would need would be their case number. That's the 7300 that starts with 7300. The date that they applied, name on the application, and date of birth.
And date of birth. Okay, so all of that information there, and that should be able to guide somebody as to where to look to find out what that discrepancy could be. Now, I know that there's a time limit on how what is it, 270 days, 274, in order to use the monies that are in there. When does that clock start running? The day that you applied or the day that the money was placed in the card?
The day that you get your money, that's the day the clock starts ticking.
Okay, so that is where the tolling will begin. So if it's not there now, just do whatever it is that you have been doing. But when the money does come in, that's when you need to start making plans on spending it and getting it done. Have you heard of any, Don, is there any filter coming through to you about people that have figured out ways that they might be able to abuse the system, and instead of using the SNAP card to be able to buy food to replace whatever was lost in the refrigerators and the freezers, are you hearing any stories about people using it to, I don't know, buy crystal methamphetamine, diesel oil for their diesel for their generators or whatever? Are you hearing any of that stuff yet?
No, I have not. We treat the B-SNAP cards as regular SNAP cards, so the same places that you can use a SNAP card, you can use this B-SNAP. So I wouldn't picture anyone, unless they're doing it to the gray market, as you just mentioned, but I haven't heard anything like that.
You never know. You never know. Crazy gray market. 8:55 in the morning. Listen, dude, it's always a pleasure talking with you. You got anything else for D-SNAP recipients or other means of benefits that are being provided through the Department of Public Health and Social Services?
Oh, well, we do have, and I think you mentioned it in your news headline, the Warriors. So go ahead and go to Invest Guam and apply about that. And again, we'd like to thank everyone for their patience. And also, I forgot to mention earlier, please provide your best contact number so we can reach out to you regarding your D-SNAP application. So that would be, I'll just list out the requirements real quick because we're wrapping up. Sure. It would be, you can call the 671-300-8880 or 2, or you can message us on our socials at Public Health, Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services on Facebook or Instagram. And again, we would just need the name of the applicant, whatever name was on the application, the date that you applied, your case number that begins with 7300, and we would also need your date of birth and your best contact number.
Best contact number. All right, but make sure you've got all of that stuff together. And best of luck. Want to get through this as quickly as we can. I'm wondering if there's going to be any call in the future for us to determine when we are all completely restored from this malware that passed through here.
Yes, sir. Well, we're doing our best to help the recovery efforts move along.
Roger that. I'll talk to you pretty soon. 8:57. You have a fantastic rest of the day.
You too, sir.
All right, on. Getting word here. That Diane Lane married Josh Brolin.
Diane Lane?
Yeah.
Hey, now.
I know.
Yeah.
It's another reason to hate. I hated him in Goonies.
Big crush.
I didn't like him in Goonies. I thought he was a little too, just mean to his brothers and stuff like that.
What a joke.
And now he's married Diane Lane? Unforgivable. And then he says, a.k.a. Thanos.
Oh, yeah.
In those movies that I never watch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He wasn't Sicario, Ray.
8:57. That's Real Joe trying to help. Maybe a little bit later in the broadcast. I don't know when. Hey, Lynn Tydinko, good to see you there. The unfaithful woman. Are you talking about Diane Lane in there? Diane Lane in Streets of Fire. Well, that's all you need to hear. Just Diane Lane, Streets of Fire. And she didn't do a whole lot of acting. And what little she did, I didn't think it was that great, but just eye candy for sure, right? In a thing.
She never ages.
None. 8:58. Even the older she looks, she looks like she was. You ever those fantasies of like see him in the movies and wonder what she's going to look like when she's older. And now you look at her when she's a Superman's mom, right?
Yeah.
But still. OMG. Anyway, so yesterday over at the legislature, they had the town hall, if you will, on the missile and air defense system that thankfully they're talking about putting out here. It's one of those things. And I get that there are going to be people out there that say maybe we're overestimating what it is that North Korea and China are doing right now. Maybe we're overestimating. In fact, we're overestimating the capabilities of China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia. But they are aggressive. They are saber-rattling. And I don't care whether we think they can kick our butts or not. I think we need to be prepared to defend ourselves and to be able to, if needed, have offensive capabilities. They're already here. But we've got guys that went up there, and I've got a copy of a slide that was shown that talks about peace for Guam. And I came away after reading this going, the people that wrote this peace for Guam thing, they're the Neville Chamberlains of the Pacific right now. They think just because we think that we are going to mollify them, that they will leave us alone. And it didn't work out for the people in Europe and Britain in the Second World War. You got a bully, you got to deal with the bully. And if that means defending yourself and taking some karate lessons so you can defend yourself, that's what you do. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, radio station KUSG Agana. We'll go over some of this a little bit later on. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it and maybe agree with me. Here it comes, Fox News. This is The Point.
Money on the campaign trail. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. President Biden out fundraising his possible GOP opponents in the spring, but Fox's Alexandria Hoff says there's more to these numbers.
We're not just following the campaign cash that is coming in, we're also following the campaign cash that is going out, and that's creating problems for at least Governor Ron DeSantis. He raised more than $20 million in the first 6 weeks of his campaign, which is actually really good, but he's also spending quite a bit. He's already spent nearly $8 million, and that's leaving the campaign with just $12.2 million in cash on hand. As a result, the Florida governor has had to cut his campaign staff, reducing his team by fewer than 10 members. Now, DeSantis told Fox's Howie Kurtz this weekend his campaign issues are really the result of a lack of support from the mainstream media.
President Biden's re-election campaign raised over $72 million since he announced he was running for re-election. Long-shot Democratic primary opponent Robert Kennedy Jr., he raised nearly $6.4 million. The Biden administration is going ahead with a form of student loan forgiveness despite a recent Supreme Court ruling that nullified the president's broader plan to relieve millions of borrowers from some of their debt.
Budget hawks are, Republicans on Capitol Hill are, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget is. This is $39 billion that the U.S. government was counting on getting back. Ultimately, these student loans were backed by the U.S. taxpayers. The relief goes to those who have federal loans directly owned by the Education Department and are participating in income-driven repayment plans. Republicans are blasting the move as just another last-ditch effort by the Biden administration to unconstitutionally pay off people's debt. This $39 billion bailout to let people off the hook from paying their debt is happening while the U.S. government is taking on billions of debt and drowning in the interest of paying off that debt.
And that was Fox's Hillary Vaughn reporting from Capitol Hill. America is listening to Fox News.
Guam Regional Medical City is a leader in foot and ankle care in the Marianas. Our podiatry clinic aims to provide exceptional treatments for diabetes, ingrown nails, arthritis, corns, foot and ankle injuries, and much more. Let's get you back on your feet. To learn more, call GRMC's referral office at 671-633-GRMC. That's 671-633-4762. GRMC, reflecting our commitment to providing safe and quality patient care.
JV International Safety Equipment has it all for you. Fall protection, rain gear, traffic signs, speed bumps, custom signs and banners, PPEs, fire extinguishers, plus more. Check them out on Facebook at JV International Safety Equipment Company or visit their website, www.jvisec.com. JV International Safety Equipment, Guam's leader in occupational and environmental safety equipment. Call 688-9524. JV International Safety Equipment, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
There are 2 young children still missing after flash flooding in Pennsylvania swept them and their mother away. This happened on Saturday. 5 people were killed in this event. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more.
The search continues for those missing, including a 9-month-old and a 2-year-old, after floodwaters swept away vehicles from a road in southeastern Pennsylvania on Saturday. Upper Makefield Township Fire Chief Tim Brewer says they have tripled the number of resources and teams looking for the kids.
We have search teams that are assisting us from Delaware, Chester, parts of Bucks County, New Jersey,
We also have deployed K-9 units, underwater assets, air assets.
Those air assets include drones. Officials say storms dumped about 7 inches of rain in approximately 45 minutes in that area, causing the flooding. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
In the south and southwest, they're dealing with excessive heat still. Here's Fox's Jeff Manasso.
Temperatures are soaring once again across the southwest, where it could hit 110 degrees every day this week. In Las Vegas, with triple-digit temperatures all week from Dallas to South Florida.
I probably drank about 5 bottles of water today.
It makes me want to stay inside.
The National Weather Service issuing an excessive heat warning for Miami-Dade to first responders, also reminding people to know the signs of heat-related illness.
If you feel lightheaded, confused, weak, or faint, please seek medical attention immediately by calling 911.
Erica Benitez with Miami Fire. Forecasters say the heat wave across parts of the U.S. is likely to drag on for weeks. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The Food and Drug Administration approving the first long-acting drug to protect babies and toddlers against a respiratory virus that sends tens of thousands of American children to the hospital each year. RSV, a cold-like nuisance for most healthy people, can be life-threatening for the very young and the elderly. The Food and Drug Administration approving the injection for infants and children up to 2 years old who face increased risk. I'm John Saucier. This is Fox News.
Half a day. This is Clara Manglona from Security Title with an important warning. Wire fraud is real, and home buyers and sellers are one of the biggest targets, even on Guam. When sending money by wire transfer, be sure to confirm the wire instructions by phone, not email. In this case, it's good to be suspicious and know who you're dealing with. Let the professionals at Security Title work with you to minimize loss due to wire fraud. We are here to help.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. More services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
For all your real estate needs, call the professionals at Hoffaday Realty. Jody, Saran, Libby, and Lolita, and they'll take care of you on every step of the real estate process. No worries. Just contact Hoffaday Realty at 588-4232 or 588-HOFFA or email them at hoffadayrealty@gmail.com. They're at 426 Challenge San Antonio, Suite 204 in Tamuning. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. Hoffaday Realty for all your real estate needs.
The comments online, Facebook online. YouTube is on, but it's been unstable here this morning. So I think a lot of people from there jumped over because they didn't want to have to deal with the buffering, and I have no clue as to what's going on Rumble. I just know we're not as big as what's his name, Tucker Carlson. But I'm working on it. I'm working on building the empire, as it were. 6 after 9 o'clock in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show, and it's being brought to you by the guys over at Wendy's. And what do they got for you over at Wendy's? BOGO, buy one, get one. How does this work? It's not that tricky. Not that tricky. So you're going in, and for a limited time, you choose from the Dave Single, a spicy chicken, 10-piece crispy nuggets, or a medium chocolate frosty. Then you get the second one for just $1 more. So I want Dave Single, so I buy one of those, and for an additional $1, I can get another one. I wonder if I can also choose to get one of the other items in that for just $1 as well. Well, you hit the drive-thru and let me know. Buy one, get one for just $1. Hands down, the best value on Guam. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Rediscover talk radio here. Your FM News Talk Superstation. This is The Point.
That's right, Juan. If you want peace, prepare for war. So I guess they had the thing last night, town hall. A lot of people questions about tell me a little bit more about this missile defense. You know what? Here's what I want to know about the missile defense system. Right? How safe is it to have in my backyard? I don't want, some guy just kind of rolling around, has got a cigarette, and he flicks it off in one direction, bam, all of a sudden we've got these THAAD missiles going off.
No smoking.
No smoking around there. I just don't want to make sure it's like neighbors with pit bulls. You just want to make sure the dog's on a leash, right? We're okay with that. That's the thing's not going to sneak out and eat my face. which actually happened to somebody I know on Facebook or Twitter somewhere. They were asking for prayers because a neighbor's dog got loose. I'm not going to say it's a pit bull, but a dog got loose and started chomping on somebody's face. And that's what I'm kind of concerned about. The idea, as put forth by at least somebody that was doing some slide work over at the legislature yesterday. And I don't know if this was the only one, but it was the only one that was sent to me, so I couldn't speak to the rest of it. I've been, honestly, very, very busy. When that was going on yesterday, I was at the airport picking up some guys. But anyway, so the peace for Guam, peace, love, dove. Right? Guam is not equal in peace or war, which was an understatement. Obviously, we learned that from the Second World War and the invasion by Japan. Just unprepared for any of that. Even if we had been prepared, it would have been a hell of a bloody battle. U.S. force projection makes Guam a target. I'm 61 years old, and there has never been a time in my life that Guam was not a target. You remember when the Anderson Air Force Base during the war, Cold War, and the B-52s flying around and projecting American power and presence into Southeast Asia during Vietnam. If the Vietnamese had some weaponry, they would have put some sights on Guam. There has been a Cold War since forever, and there has always been a target on Guam, whether it's a target of the Russians, and that was always what we were talking about when I was in high school. Was the idea that, World War III is going to happen, but for Guam, it's going to happen pretty quick. They figure about the first 45 minutes of an armed nuclear conflict. We would be taken out in about 45 minutes. And you learn that, and you come to grips with it, and it just is what it is. There are places, I'm sure, in the United States mainland where they have got missile bases and missile facilities, and they got just as big a target on them as we do. Today, the military talks about defense, but plans for putting offensive missiles in Guam are underway. What? We can neither confirm nor deny the presence of of nuclear weaponry on Guam, which is another piece of that was another line we'd heard all of our lives. I remember when there was a once upon a time. I hope I get this right. Klitsky will correct me if I got it wrong. But there was a once upon a time we were a SAC base, and then we were a MAC base. And then when they went to be in a MAC base, Military Airlift Command, then they came back and said, okay, well, we're taking the SAC and we're taking the nukes with us. And we're going, I know it. I know you had the nukes there. I know it.
They let it slip.
We could neither confirm nor deny. Yeah. It's like Biden saying the quiet parts out loud. There have always been offensive capabilities here on Guam. The concept, if you remember, didn't they teach you this in school? The mutually assured destruction. You send something out in this direction, don't worry, we got another 10 that are pointed at you. And if you want to take out 150,000 people on Guam, don't worry, we'll figure out where in Russia we're going to take out about 1 million. And it'll probably be someplace with offensive capabilities there as well. So we don't have to fight this war any longer than 45 minutes. U.S. aims to deter China from Guam, as it should. So let's deter China from Guam. How much of that do we want to say is trying to corral them? Because that's what they're really bristling about, is they don't want to be corralled into one place or another. They want, the freedom of the seas that we enjoy and all of those kinds of things. But yeah, we'd like to deter them from Guam. You can come out here and be our business partners if you want to, and if you're not breaking any big laws. But yeah, let's make ways keep these guys off of our shores. In a U.S.-China conflict, our homes and families are at risk. See above. Missile defense is part of a military's plans to show that even if attacked, operations may continue from Guam. Yeah, that's how we assure this thing. That's how we will assure that if there is something like a shooting war, we're way over here. And even though we might not be able to shoot from here, we've got these submarines that are kind of lurking in these waters that home base here on Guam.
100 submarines surrounding us.
They will avenge our deaths. That's what they're. I'm more worried about this micro reactor than China. Our boys in uniform stand ready to make some dim sum. Right on. No. Don't be scared of the micro reactor. Come on, you guys are watching too much stuff on television. You watch that thing on Chernobyl on HBO, and then you watch The Days on Netflix, and you're going, but it's nuclear. I'm scared of a nuclear. There's been, we've had nuclear around here for a long time. I can't tell you who I was talking to, but I ran into a buddy of mine over the weekend, and he's a submarine guy, and he's got a nuclear sub. And I asked him how he was doing. I said, oh, we got power problems. I said, what? He said, yeah, we got power problems. I said, don't you guys make your own electricity on the boat? He says, yeah. We got that, but when we're in port, we like to plug our extension cords into the power system that we got here, and it's not pretty. And I said, that's all right. He's probably. I wonder if they load shed. the nuke subs here as well. I got to find my guy and find out more about it. Look, I'm going to make light of this because if you ask me, the idea that there would be anybody out there complaining or wondering out loud in a self-righteous mode about colonize this and colonize that and how dare you, this is the way it's been for a long time. And if it's not there, then we will get swallowed whole by these guys. Neville Chamberlain wanted to see if we could sue for peace, because he met up with the Germans, and the Germans said, nah, don't worry about it. Everything is going to be okay, until it wasn't okay anymore. You know how I know? Because I watch every movie about Churchill and his nemesis, Neville Chamberlain, that ever came out. Anyway, 9:14, you want to talk about that, you're welcome to. 888-825-5888-TALK. Looks like, I'm going to be careful how I say this, but it looks like things have stabilized a little bit. I don't seem to be dropping out on the Rumble and the YouTube, and as it turns out, Facebook seems to be working for us all morning long. Lots of comments coming through, and that's nice. Like to hear from you. Like to see what you're thinking about the conversation that's going on the radio, as well as the conversation that goes on there. I might bring something up here, and it'll get people talking on the thing. And lately, there have been these rolling firefights about all kinds of stuff. Gina Marie Tenorio call this morning. Feeling triggered by some of the conversation and criticism about online learning. And she says, hey, I was an online learning teacher, and my kids did all right. Not all the teachers are as good as you, and not all of the students are as good as the students that you've got in there. And we can't make decisions about what happened based on just one class. And there were a lot of people that I want to say kind of reached out to try to console her, or in the very least said, no, we cannot have online learning in this thing. We got Bob Klitsky's measure, the Adequate Education Act, and we'll see what the guys over at the legislature want to do about that, and to what degree they will ignore the Adequate Education Act. And unfortunately, it's not like there's a Adequate Education Act police officer. There's we don't have anything like that. So it will come down to parents like Trish that hopefully when they hear and see what it is that is going to happen with the students once we start opening doors, then you've got to go armed with your copy of the Adequate Education Act and start making your complaints. And there's a whole process. Maybe Bob Klitsky can take you through what that process is. But you got to do that for your kids. Personally, I'd like to see what the other options are out there to online learning. I've offered my own homeschooling, for sure. Homeschooling is one of them. Seeing if we can expand the number of charter schools with simple legislation that would fold in all of the Catholic schools and everybody else into this. And if you're an atheist or you just got look, I'm not a Catholic. That's not how I want my kid raised. Well, it's okay. So when it comes to religion class, then we'll just your kid can go to study hall. And if it's one of those things where, because they did it for us when I was at Cathedral, I got the easy version of catechism, which was we went to mass at school. That was part of the thing. And if you don't want your kid going to mass again, it's just stick it outside, give them the phone, just TikTok all morning until we're done, until Polly sends us back. There are ways that we can do this that won't, I think, become an affront to the atheists or the ones who have other faiths that they'd like to raise their children in. But if we've got an empty seat in the school, maybe that'll end up being a good thing for them. 917-888-8255-888-TALK. What's on your mind? Dr. Ron McNinch is on the line. Dr. Ron McNinch is an educator. Doc, are you going to be a part of that get-together over at the Attorney General's office today?
What time is it today? Do you know?
It will be at 1:30 at the Attorney General's office, so you might want to start looking for parking at about 11.
Isn't that crazy, that parking over there is incredible. I want to tell you, I don't think we have school children anymore. I think what we have are young people, we have children in this community who are being fought over by two parents in a very bitter divorce. And the parents are the governor and the legislature, and the kids are the ones who end up getting hurt by all this.
Well, let's throw some of the teachers in there, because I guarantee there's a certain level of frustration and uncertainty because they don't know what's going to happen. I think many of them have been through their version of online learning and understand what the features and benefits and detriments might be if that's the only way that we're going to be doing teaching here. I mean, maybe we need to go back to the way we did it in COVID, and in the very least, hand out some assignments that the kids can turn back in. On top of everything else, you're an educator. To what degree are you involved in an online learning environment?
I wish some people would buy a book on what education's really all about, because actually, particularly for children of certain ages, education is as much about a social set of things that go on with young people as it is intellectual or psychological kinds of things that go on with it.
Let's talk about that. Drill into that a little bit more, because I think you're going to hit on what the pay dirt is going to be. There might be some high school age kids that are mature enough and understand what the hell is going on, and then there might be some elementary school kids, maybe some middle school kids that need, on top of reading, writing, and arithmetic, certain social norms that need to be taught to them as well. How to work and play with other kids, how to deal with conflict among your peers, how to deal with having a best friend one day and then having the same person hate you the next day.
Much more than that. Some young people just need to know that there's an adult in their lives that cares about them outside of just their immediate family, and somebody who's watching out for them. Also, we feed children at a rate, I wish someone would take a look just at getting young people nutrition and food every day that the education process has a major part in. Education is much more than about learning. It's about really, truly supporting the child in many aspects of their lives.
Well, wait a minute, and let's drill on that as well. So in the COVID time, when we didn't have the kids in the classroom, we still had food that was made available to them by the Department of Education, and then there was because there were so many missed days as a result of COVID or what became missed days. They were also given their own little SNAP cards. You remember that? Will that be in play now? Because the circumstances, the origins of the difficulties are completely separate. One was brought on by COVID and the bizarre reaction that the governments of the planet had towards COVID, which caused all of that delinking from the school. And now we just got one. Hey, this is brought on by the fact that DPHSS can't inspect the schools as quickly as they can, and the Department of Education is going to have difficulties meeting the requirements to be able to have face-to-face schooling. So will there still be the same steps taken to, as you point out, make sure these kids still get a couple of square meals a day?
And there's another angle. Who makes sure that our young people aren't being abused, they're not being neglected? The education process has a lot more angles than simply learning going on. We have an entire support system for many young people who really need, we need to be able to support our young people and nurture and care for our young people. And all this silliness, this artificial crisis that we're dealing with right now is simply that. It's an artificial crisis that could be deliberately dealt with. And I applaud the Attorney General for wanting to hold meetings. I think weeks ago, I think it should have been all hands on deck. Last night you said they held a meeting at the legislature. Why hasn't the legislature been meeting about this, all hands on deck, a month ago when we knew this was coming up?
Because Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio said there was going to be a government-wide response. It's on the website. It's on the Facebook page. He got all these movers and shakers together and said, we're going to have an entire government of Guam is going to press ourselves and work feverishly, because that's apparently the only way that they work in the governor's office. We're going to work feverishly to make sure that we get all of the demerits and all of the anything that might show up in these inspections taken care of. Any procurement problems, we're going to see to that lickety-split. We're going to take it. They had one meeting, and then that was it. I never heard anything else about this government-wide support that they were going to be lending. So, if I can see the legislature going, well, I guess if Josh is going to take care of this, we don't need to. But it wasn't until it was pretty clear, because the governor said so, that she wasn't going to be doing anything because the Organic Act, that it became clear that the legislature was going to have to deal with the horns of the dilemma that was brought on by Chris Barnett's bill. That, by the way, was voted on unanimously.
Yeah, but also the governor didn't sign it. She let it lay for very good reason. I think that, the thing that bothered me the most about Chris's bill, and I like Chris. He's my friend. I view Chris as a friend of mine.
Oh. Yeah.
Key thing, they did not involve the Guam Department of Education at all in that entire bill process. We weren't called in for hearings. We weren't called in for, they just, in like one fell swoop, passed the law without even talking to us. And they advanced that timeline in a way that really disparagingly and unfairly treated our young people. It was terrible. I don't know what staffers' idea it was to do that, because Chris was brand new at the time that was passed. So I don't think he really knew all that much about it. I don't know what staffer dreamed it up, but they should be fired.
Wow. Now let me marijuana drug testing, because I got to look up the measure, because it seems to me that there would be in the record committee reports, et cetera, that showed what work has gotten into it.
We were not invited to a hearing. I would have immediately said, we have a timeline in place. Respect the timeline in place. That's all we had to do.
Yeah, maybe they did it. You just didn't. You were off island.
No, I checked. I double checked. This was
4-37. I'm looking it up. I'm not suggesting that you're fibbing or anything. The legislature, all they've got is the on the status is the measure. It doesn't say anything about whether or not anybody was called in and how perfect or imperfect the process was. Well, that'll be interesting. You're welcome to bring that up. They're going to have in a half hour. You can go to the legislature and maybe make that part of the conversation. But it seems that they had to talk to somebody, because and maybe it didn't necessarily need to fall into the Department of Education, because it was for the most part dealing with the efforts. No, that's still not the right bill I'm looking for.
Education is prevented from micromanaging the Department of Education. And who do we have micromanaging the Department of Education now? It's the legislature. I wish the legislature would follow its own advice. If they're going to keep the board, who's elected to serve as the policy focus for education, they're going to keep the board out of operations. The legislature itself should keep itself out of operations.
Well, but if nobody's micromanaging the Department of Education, how do we know anything is happening?
They changed the rules in the middle of the game. That's how they micromanage.
Yeah. All right, but I'm still looking it up here. There's got to be some kind of adult supervision on all of this. The paperwork is available on the website, so on the legislature's website, so you can see what exactly was in and what was missing on all of this. So do I see where it says public hearing?
They were clever by sneaking it through that way. That's the political reality. Is this was a clever legislative device, and by clever, I mean that very disparagingly. This was a very bad way of proceeding.
It says there was a public hearing on March the 9th.
For
the bill that became law.
But you have to take a look at the other parts and who was invited and who wasn't. And that's the key part that I have an exception.
Well,
with.
if it was noticed as they usually do, then if you're a stakeholder, you would know. Date committee report was filed was on the 21st of March. They got a fiscal note. They requested that in February. They got one in the middle of February. Substituted by the committee on it. So there it is. They had session on the 21st, and it passed on they had session on the 20th. And it passed in that session on the 21st. Transmitted to the governor's office on the 21st, and then it lapsed into law on the 1st of April. Hey, April Fools!
That's pretty mean, right?
What?
That hurts.
Even for me?
Man.
Even for me? 928.
You know what? Why don't we all just agree to help our young people and do whatever it takes to work together to make it happen? I wish that would be the consensus.
But I'm there. I'm down with that. And so this is why I'm annoyed that, the Department of Education is saying that online learning seems unavoidable, and because that's the answer that they want. That's what they want to do is to punish everybody by, for whatever. If we're only going to do distance learning, we're only going to do online learning here. But there are other means that, to skin the cat here, and other places. So as I said, there are ways that we can encourage homeschooling? Are there ways that we can encourage being able to take advantage of chairs and desks that might be in the public school system, or are there ways, as Chris Duenas would like to see, ways to turn certain schools that we have around here from regular old parochial archdiocese schools and turn them into charter schools? I mean, is there anything inherently bad about that? If we know that the education that is available in these schools, in these facilities, would be at least on par with the education that they're going to get in the Department of Education, why fight it so hard?
None of the possible, not none, most of the possible options that could be explored have not even been talked about yet. So, for example, the thing about working with the Catholic schools or whatever, there's all kinds of ways that we can cooperate and work. And it doesn't have to be per child. It could be they have certain excess classrooms that then the Department of Education could use for certain classes, and so you move the learning site to where these other schools are. There's
Great idea. Great. Make sure you go and bring that one up. I'm reminded about my early days at Cathedral Grade School. We had classes, regular Cathedral Grade School classes, and at 2:00 in the afternoon we get out. Our folks come and pick us up at the cafeteria. But there was always there was for a time. I want to say that there was a transition between the Catholic school kids and then kids coming in from other than Catholic school. And so I want to say that maybe there was at the time the idea that there was going to be dual purposes on those classrooms. Absolutely a great idea. Can we also extend that to the University of Guam, where there might be classroom facilities that can be used for certain of the students? Is everything being used on a 18-hour a day basis at the university, or could some of those classrooms be turned into dual purpose for high school students?
The amount of open space on this island for learning spaces is incredible. We just have to optimize the management.
And that guy Don Sulat that called in from Public Health, I didn't realize this. He's from Saipan, and he says Hopwood High in Saipan, tents. The kids are learning in military tents, air conditioning, classrooms, and lights. It's a facility where learning can take place. And that's what they're using. I did not realize that. But there's an idea as well. I mean, how many tents would we need to replicate a functioning school?
Yeah, I think that we have lots of options that we should explore and take a look at, and we need to do it right away. But I think of all the things that bothers me the most is how some of our leaders appear to seem to express, at least through the media as I've heard, as if our children are toys that can be played with. The parents are toys that can be played with. Parents have to work. That's another part of this equation nobody's talked about.
I brought it up. I brought it up a couple of times. I mean, somebody's got to explain to parents why it is now we're going to online learning, and depending on where their kid is going to school, they may have to make plans to be away from the office, or maybe go to online work with their office with whatever internet they've got these days, because those systems are still delicate for maybe up until December of this year.
Absolutely. And we just got over the recent typhoon. I guess this is like what we'd call in my field a cascade failure. That is, not only did one part go down, we had several parts go down at once. Part of it, not small, but a significant part was the typhoon, but also the timing. It seems to be that they had no real thought. Why are the public health folks even inspecting these places? Why don't we have another system to inspect that's not based around restaurants and massage parlors? Nobody questions these things.
Yeah, well,
and they should.
Maybe that will be among the things that we learn, but we're awful lousy at keeping notes and having these autopsies. But we will. I think there will be multiple opportunities. 9:33. All right, there's my perspective from one educator. I'm going to bring in another one. All right.
Sounds great.
All right, you have a great day. Dr. Ron McNinch from the University of Guam. My buddy Verna on the line. She's an educator. She knows a thing or two about teaching kids. Can I get you a tent here? Can I get you one of those military tents like in MASH? Except it'll be
I'd be okay with that.
air conditioned.
I'd be okay with that, you know, because I'm a military brat and a mom of a Marine and a daughter of a Marine, so let's do it.
As long as we might be able to preserve one way or the other face-to-face learning in the schools, why not? Why not? And then there's that homeschool thing that I was talking about earlier, and there's maybe there's something to that conversation about you becoming a consultant for homeschooling, or maybe if there's and I don't know what the standards would be. So we've got a bunch of kids in a homeschool, but we're not at their house every day. We're at Auntie's house, where I'm there with my 2 or 3 cousins and a couple of neighborhood kids, and we're homeschooling in there. And there is a teacher, there is an educator who is not necessarily the mom, who might be able to do this on some kind of a gig business license. You know.
I see what you mean. You know, there's just so much that we can, you know, we're going to have to figure out and everything, and hopefully today we'll see where we're at and what needs to be done. I mean, I'm going to be attending. I'm actually parked outside, and I'm looking at the cathedral and praying.
How fitting.
About the cathedral, I'm just looking at it right now. Holy cow! It needs the typhoon really put something through it. Also, boy, does it need to be water blasted and painted.
Oh, everything is like that.
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh my God.
You know, besides my house and all that, it's like I'm not used to seeing the cathedral this way.
Yeah. Well, they'll get to work on it eventually, and they got to save the souls of everybody first. And you know, Archbishop, I don't know, prayers for Archbishop Byrne wherever he is.
Yes. Anyway, well, before I get into that, and I love what Dr. McNinch has to say and everything. It's so true with regards to a lot of things that he said. But Diane Lane, I love her in Must Love Dogs. Oh my gosh, it was an awesome with another guy from the '80s John Cusack there.
Oh, John Cusack in anything.
Yes. You know, so anyway, he was with Diane Lane in this one called Must Love Dogs.
Great show.
Cute movie.
Yep.
And then I also liked Josh Brolin recently in Only the Brave. He played one of maybe the chief of the firefighters from Arizona that lost their lives, you know, like fighting fires.
Oh, in the thing. Okay, I have not watched that. So careful with the spoiler alerts.
Get ready.
What was it? What was Josh in that
I'm trying to think. There's other stuff. He's been in a lot of movies, and not everything's great, you know. But I do like him as an actor. Other than I love how you said it. The Goonies. He wasn't a nice brother.
He was not a nice brother. He was kind of mean. I mean, I get it, and but you know.
Yeah, he was a bully to his own brother. Come on.
And would he have been able to go out there and find One-Eyed Willie? He probably could have gotten it done faster, but there is. I'm looking.
Right, in 15 minutes versus over an hour.
So there it is. He was in No Country for Old Men. The Goonies has got a piece. Men in Black 3.
Yes.
When he played Kay in Men in Black 3.
Only the Brave, the latest one. Like I said, he did an excellent job in that. It's like because what they did is they consulted with all the people that actually went through it and the one survivor, so they kept it as true as possible. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, all right, worth watching. Is it on the Netflix yet?
I have no idea. All I know. Oh, wait. Yes, it is on Netflix. I watched it again over the summer because Wow Ray, their anniversary, it happened June 30th, 2013. So it's been 10 years.
Did I tell you the eye candy I've had on my screen over the last few days in terms of movie? Bubblegum for the eyes is what Mama Terry always called it. But they've got the library of 70s disaster movies on Netflix. So you start with Earthquake.
Now I need to go check it out. Okay.
Charlton Heston in Earthquake. I want to say who else is in that movie? Lorne Green. from Bonanza is in the movie, plays his father-in-law. Golly, there's at least one of Charlie's Angels in the movie, and she's got poofy hair. She's got one of these 70s perm deals. Just absolutely terrific, and a lot of other, there's other cameos that are in that movie. But it was great. I remember when it came out because when Earthquake came out, it was in select theaters, had a feature called Sense-Around. Do you remember that? Okay, so what they did, well, I mean, we didn't know any better. What the hell? We thought they were going to make the building shake, but as it turns out, what they did was they just brought in a whole bunch of subwoofers in the theater. So when the earthquake part came up, and it does, it's like a character in the movie. Every time there'd be the primary earthquake and some aftershocks or something like that, you'd hear this deep rumbling in the building. But we were all thinking,
wow.
we were
Back
all
in the 70s?
Yeah, this is 1974 or something like that. We thought it was going to shake the hell out of the old. The old
IMAX experience before
yeah,
IMAX.
yeah. What was the name of that?
Johnson.
No, it wasn't Johnson. What's the one behind Take Care? FHP.
Hoffa-D.
Hoffa-D
1 and 2.
It was
the balcony.
Yes, it was. There was no Hoffa-D 1 or 2. It was just Hoffa-D. Yeah, you either sit upstairs or downstairs. And we were downstairs because that was, and we sat as close to these sense-around speakers as we possibly could because we were a bunch of smart-ass kids. And then so I went from that to watching the original Airport, not Airplane, but Airport. And there's a ton of great actors and actresses in that one, and that spawned Airport 76. I think that's right. Airport 76. There's all kinds of these disaster movies that were really, really popular. Irwin Allen flicks. The Towering Inferno. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
So we got to go out and find some of those old movies, and because we got to get our minds off of our own disasters, like the Department of Education in GovGuam. Did I say that again out loud? Oh my God! 9:39 in the morning. What else going on in your life?
Anyway, no, I wanted to mention, he talked about the learning. It isn't just about learning. It's, it's not. I always say that as a teacher and as a mother, it's not just about the academics. It's about the social part of the child. I remember when I was teaching online, a student would leave, and then I find out from the mom that he was crying because it's not for him. He needed to be in the classroom, and he was just being not feeling, cared for and loved and everything. And so, and this is 5th grade. So it made me, I'm thinking, whoa, if you're 5th grade, a little one, a kindergartner, and a 1st grader, I can only imagine. So honestly, it's not for everybody. I mean, good luck, great for all those teachers like Gina who did a great job. I'm going to tell you straight out, I didn't. I did the best that I could, but I didn't. So I'll do what I'm supposed to do. I will follow the rules and regulations and whatnot. And I'm sitting here and I'm seeing everybody walking in towards the Guam legislature, so I better make it as quick as possible. But, so we'll just, I'm going to listen to the experts and pray on it. That's all I can do right now.
Well, don't forget, you're one of the experts. You bring up the intriguing point here is you were able to identify, even in the Zoom learning, that you had a kid that had a problem. And if this was a face-to-face scenario, you would have been able to, at the bell, hold on, just stay in the class for a couple of minutes. I need to talk to you. And sit down and drill into the kid. What's the problem? Are you having a problem in the class? Are you having a problem with the material? Are you having a problem at home? Are you having a problem online? You've got all of those things. You can't.
Social emotional, man. Social emotional.
You can't do that in the course of the Zoom, and it's not like you're going to just jump in the car and go drive to the houses of everybody you think has got a problem. 9:41.
And he had a great support system. He had a sister there who was my student, who was going to the OG on the side helping. Awesome parents and everything. But again, he was still not feeling like himself and everything. And as soon as we were able to go back to face-to-face, he was like the first one to sign up.
Right. Exactly, because that's where I want to be, in the classroom. Okay. Some kids love classrooms. I've never been that guy. 9:42, you have a great day, Verna.
Bye.
And have a good time over at the legislature. I love seeing that. And look, if you're an educator, you got the degrees, you got the certification that they make you get every single year. They don't pay you enough for it. Make your way to the legislature. At 10 o'clock this morning, there's going to be a round table. I think there's probably already going to be a fairly large crowd in there just among the people that need to be in the room representing the Department of Education. And I hope that they are firm at the 37th Guam legislature. And then at 1:30 this afternoon over at the Attorney General's office, there's going to be a get-together. And I know who's going to be in it. The governor and lieutenant governor. Oh, wait, they said they're not going. Chairman Barnett, DOE Chair Weekly, DOE Superintendent, the new guy, Charter Schools Chairwoman, the Catholic Schools Superintendent, Reverend Jeff St. St. John's, Michelle Untalan, St. Paul's, Yvonne Unchuk, and the director of Azmuzao, Rand, is going to have all confirmed that they're going to be there as well. The idea is options. The idea is choices. And I'm enough of trying to be ungovernable as possible, and enough of one of these guys I like to consider as a disruptor. Let this be the disruptor. Let this be the disruptor. And I think what we're seeing here is the system fighting back. We don't want to be told what to do. We don't want to live on your schedule. We don't want to live on your rules. You know, it's like homeless people, and they're homeless people that are homeless because just the circumstances haven't worked for them. You know, run into a couple of personal emergencies that they couldn't see through, and it's just been ugly. And then you've got some that just like to live outside. I'm my own man. I'm off grid, baby. I know where to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I know where the nice lady lives. I know which intersection has the nicest people. The nicest people. And sometimes, you know, as long as you've got a piece of cardboard, it says, please donate, any amount, welcome. And you're at the right intersection, you might be able to make enough money to get yourself some cigarettes and Slim Jims, and maybe renew the vape. I don't know, maybe get yourself one of those gas station cell phones so you're not completely out of touch with the world. It's there, it exists. But there's just, you know, there's people that want to live under their own rules, and that's them. And I think it's the same with certain parts of the government of Guam, maybe all of it. We don't want outside. We'll give you the impression that there are people that are in control at the governor's office, the legislature. You have the impression that's happening. But really, the beast will take care of itself. And it knows how to fight for itself and knows how to protect its babies. 9:45. You know what I don't know, Real Joe?
Where John Fernandez is at?
That's an interesting question. A lot of people might be asking that right about now. How the hell were you able to keep...
He got out just in time, Ray.
You were, oh my God. You did such a great job of being able to either suppress these fires to the point where they were mere embers. But now, you know, it's like... You ever look at your relationship like that, Real Joe, where you're going, it's just an ember, it's a spark, but maybe it'll come back to a roaring fire. That's what happened with the Department of Education. Apparently, John Fernandez was able to keep things, all these different balls in the air, all of the different the fires tamped down and just embers, and then all of a sudden he left, and then the caca, what does it say? The guy saying in the commercial, and then the peanut butter hit the fan. And poor Francie Solis, man.
It's chunky peanut butter.
Poor Francie Solis going, where the hell did this come from? Okay, Judy, it's your turn, and Judy got in there, and Judy's, a lot of these guys, they're great when there's somebody else really pulling the strings and providing the dough, but man, when it's going to be you, I don't know about that, and there's a million people in the organization, from the students and the parents and the teachers and the faculty, and then you've got the administration of the schools, and then you've got the board, and then you've got everything else at play. You can imagine that's why these guys were as busy as they were. No, what I was going to say is, what I don't know is what's going on Marine Corps Drive from about AK southbound, right in front of Denny's, down to the ITC building.
And then there's always traffic there lately.
But this has been ugly since earlier this morning.
Oh, maybe they're pouring that form for the island.
Oh, yeah. Could be.
Maybe.
Crap, because I gotta go through there. All right, so no. What I normally do here is, if you have not yet passed the JFK turn, take the JFK turn into Tumon, and then just go northbound that way. Take that little scenic tour around the rotating Archbishop. Actually, it doesn't rotate. We should have made it rotate.
Is that the Felix Berto, right?
He was a great guy.
Oh, scared of him.
And then you take that turn over at St. Anthony Skew. Actually, I'm looking at the traffic right now. Maybe that's what a lot of people are doing, because it looks like it might be a little bit busy. And get to the intersection over by Infusion Jack in the Box, Horse and Cat, and make your way southbound that way. 9:47 in the morning. I'm going to leave you with a couple of thoughts. One of them is, 2 or 3 years ago, none of us knew what the hell pickleball was. Are you ready for the next thing that's going to be coming to the United States of America that could make a difference in here and get people fighting over field space? Well, I do. That's what I'm paid to do, to know stuff. I'll be right back.
KFC's $5 breakfast deals are the best and most affordable ways to start your day. The Colonel's Chicken and Rice Bowl, $5. Chicken fried steak, $5. Sausage, biscuit, and gravy, $5. And they all come with a fresh coffee. KFC $5 breakfast deals are served starting at 6 a.m. daily at your favorite KFC restaurant. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Listen to The Point anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Find your favorite stations like The Point and discover more. Music stations, local and trusted news sources, sports talk and team coverage, plus today's biggest podcasts. Find it all on the Odyssey app. AUDACY.
Do you or a loved one suffer from diabetic, chronic, or other non-healing wounds? If so, Guam Regional Medical City is here to help. At GRMC, we are committed to providing proper wound care using hyperbaric oxygen therapy and other forms of treatment to better manage pain and help speed up the healing process. To learn more, contact the GRMC referral office at 671-633-GRMC. That's 633-4762. GRMC.
Avalai, Raymond Gibson Show here at 9:49. Portions brought to you by the guys over at NissanGuam.com of the World Wide Web, always talking about the great rides that they've got for you. They are terrific. Unfortunately, some of them were caught outside during the Mawar, and so we've got a couple of chips and dings inside of them. And that's going to be to your advantage. That's the way they do things over at Nissan. You just go and pick out whichever one you want, minimally damaged and maximum savings up to $10,000. What kind you like? You got pickup truck in mind? They got pickup trucks there, SUVs and cars and coupes and things like that. Huge Mawar savings. You can find the get details, obviously, online at NissanGuam.com. Excuse me. Did somebody put some bicarbonate into my coffee? Because it looked a little burpy there. Or you can get details by calling 647-7261. Let them know what you're looking for. Now, unfortunately, because the supply is limited and it's moving fast, it is possible the ride that maybe you had in your mind might have already been snagged by somebody else, in which case you might want to talk to them about different kinds of deals they can put together on brand new, unchipped and dinged vehicles. So check that out today, 10 away from 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning. And Wendy's Strawberry Frosty is making its sweet return. Real strawberry puree, iconic strawberry Frosty. The reason why I bring this up is because it's hot on Guam. But can you imagine how well this would go down? Places where there are Wendy's, where they're in the 110 degrees this summer. Ultra hot summer going on in the States. And that might be the only relief. There's a story I'm reading here. Ongoing alerts for excessive heat have been extended across much of the United States. There are 113 million Americans are currently under such advisories. Some homeless people have been treated for, get this now, third-degree burns in Phoenix and Death Valley. That's why they call it Death Valley. I don't want to... Poised to reach a high just shy of the hottest temperatures ever recorded on the planet. That's how bad it is. And somebody will say it was too much carbon. Guam, the planet is a closed system. You can't make new carbon and destroy carbon. It's a part of it's like water. We've got the same kind of water that they had during the Hitler times, and the dinosaurs peed, and that eventually turned into water, and we're drinking it today. It's all a closed system, guys. But anyway, I digress. Go to Wendy's and try out that incredible strawberry Frosty. If you like strawberry, they've got another bunch of flavors for you. The Wendy's Strawberry Chicken Salad, made every day, applewood smoked bacon, herb-marinated grilled chicken breast, candied almonds with a 3-cheese blend of Parmesan, Asiago, and Romano. Bed of chopped lettuce. Then, of course, we add the strawberries. And there's drizzlage, Joe. They're drizzling. Actually, you drizzle the sweet and tangy champagne vinaigrette on it. Raise the glass, because this tasty of a salad deserves a toast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Strawberry Salad. Yeah, I don't often do sports on the program, but there's a couple of interesting sports things going on. Did you know that for the first time in like 20 years, the guy that won the Wimbledon is not named Djokovic? Or Federer, or Nadal, or Murray. Did you know that? They got a new champion. It's like 20. He's a kid.
McEnroe.
Yeah.
No?
Carlos Alcaraz bringing home the prestigious tennis title. Staged a fierce performance against defending champion Novak Djokovic, which I intend to watch. He won the title 4 times in a row at the age of 20. Djokovic won the title 4 times in a row at the age of 20. This was the second Grand Slam win for Alcaraz, who is the first player not named Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, or Murray to win that title in more than 20 years. Czech player Markéta Vondrousova won the women's final on Saturday, her first victory, and the first time an unseeded player participated in that tournament in over 50 years. It's crazy stuff happening out there. And, when you pass by the tennis courts, AK to ITC, pretty clear right now, says Charlie Hermosa. Thanks for the update on that. Yes, Jerome McDonald, Dinosaur P. I said it. Live with it. I got this online here from the meme machine. Somebody asking, how is it possible that this sign is up in an open for business GovGuam agency? The sign says, restroom is currently out of order. Sorry for the inconvenience. Don't you have to have like a working pee-pee place in the government of Guam?
Oh, yeah.
For your employees and your guests? Like when I was doing jury duty, if they didn't have water at the courthouse, they had to let me go. So, because of the sanitary reasons, you can't go in the bathroom, wash your hands or whatever. So if the restroom is currently, what did you eat? What did you eat that you bombed the restroom?
Corn.
Chew your corn, for heaven's sakes. Where's the other one? Oh, they're laying blacktop down there. Is that what's going on?
That's what I heard.
Okay, real good. And then I'm going to put this back up on the screen. Golly, we didn't have a chance to talk about it yesterday. This is apparently on the wall in the ladies' room at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. It's a picture of 2 women chasing a guy out. It says, attention, gentlemen, this is a woman's restroom. Unwoke Rev and Tax. God bless them. All right. So when you pass by AK in the ITC building, and you pass by, you take a look at the tennis courts out there. Sometimes they're playing tennis, and sometimes they're playing pickleball. And there's going to be a great civil war, I think, between tennis players and the pickleball players. Well, if not there, then maybe on the baseball fields, because the British ball and bat game is rising in popularity in the United States. In Houston, which is in Texas, known for cowboys, what do you say, steers and queers, and oil industry execs, would be a prime spot for a uniquely British sport to thrive. You wouldn't think that, but it's there. It's exactly what's happening in the suburbs of Houston. Football is still king, but there's an increased interest in cricket that has attracted attention from all types of Texans. These are likely several factors at play. Insiders say a couple of characteristics likely led to Houston's status as the de facto hub of cricket in the United States. First, a large number of immigrants from South Asia, where cricket is also popular, have immigrated to the region because there's no taxes, brought with them this aspect of their culture. Furthermore, competition of all types is celebrated in Houston. Cricket clearly requires some athleticism and skill that separates the wheat from the chaff pretty easily, they say. Major League Cricket held its first ever draft earlier this year at Houston's Johnson Space Center. The league's first season began this month, so it is possible that there might be a little bit more attention being played on cricket, and we'll learn languages like, oh, what a sticky wicket, and things like that, and batsmen and whatever. I've seen the game. I just don't understand it. It's like rugby. All I know is like rugby looks like the kind of game that my brother would love, because you can go you just go in there and scrum is a word, right?
I think so.
And so you get into these scrums here, and it looks like it's kind of violent and motiony, and there's a whole lot of movement and opportunities for somebody to get whacked in the pee-pee. You know what I mean?
Like session,
like session over at the legislature. Yes. But I've never understood it, and it's been explained to me a million times, as has virtually every other sport and card game. And I don't know what it is, but when people start describing how to play and win certain card games, I fold. I just kind of get that look off in the distance and hand my cards to my daughter. Say, here, you play. 9:57 and change. Items in the table of contents. I might as well take a look and see if there's anything we missed. Oh my God, this is huge! I can't believe it. So they did a survey. Of all of the 50 states of the United States of America, Real Joe, where would you place Hawaii in terms of marijuana consumption.
Oh, wow.
You got
Number 5.
1 to 50.
Okay.
Anywhere between 1 to 50, because there's
Hawaii
50 states. 1 to 50.
It's the Pakalolo state.
So where would you put
Number
them?
5.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Survey says 44.
What?
Did your brain just explode?
Yeah.
Okay, one of two things is happening. Either they're just not. I mean, because I don't think it's legalized there the same way that it's legal here, right?
I don't know, man.
I don't
they
think
got
it is.
medical. I know that for sure.
Right. So, but they don't have recreational. What the hell? We've got
They're
a law,
getting
but we
close.
don't have any either. we just smoke what you got or whatever somebody gave you. It's okay. Nobody's checking. But no, in Hawaii, only 12. What's the number here? 14.9% of people 12 plus. Sorry for the through the numbers. Almost 15%. Only 15% of people 12 years of age or older have used marijuana in the last year. That's it. So it is either that, hey, it's not medicinal. I shouldn't smoke this. Or they're just a whole bunch of liars. They're just a whole bunch of people. I'm not putting that down. What are you asking me on this? Is it on the internet? Are my parents going to find out? Will my boss find out? Not supposed to be smoking on the job, man. My job is I gotta drive that new train, the Skyline. I gotta be that guy. Oh, Skyline numbers are coming in, and the number of people that are riding grossly below predictions of what they had for ridership. Somebody said, you know what, we could have saved more money by buying a Cadillac for each home and giving that to people versus what we spent to put this thing together. Nobody is riding the thing. Anyway, at 10 o'clock in the morning, radio station KUSG, I got you. 93.3, The Point. Programming note, we're not coming to work on Friday, so we're going to have an outrageous program tomorrow because there's a ton of stuff happening today that will be driving the headlines. In seconds, what's going to be happening at the legislature, 1:30 this afternoon, what will be happening at the Attorney General's office, and then let the chips start flying. Stand by now. Fox News is on The Point.
A cash-strapped campaign. I'm Tom Graham, Fox News. Republican presidential hopefuls continue to hit the campaign trail today.
I think we're in dire need of repairing the U.S.-Israel relationship.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis courting the Judeo-Christian